Back in 1996, the first Mission Impossible film was released, and also I was bloody born. As the years have passed, there's been a handful of sequels, and when compared to other film franchises, the Mission Impossible one has been pretty consistent, and the last two entries in particular have been to a very high standard. And now we've got Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, which is the 7th in the series, and it's also been split into 2 parts. We've seen on many occasions that a part 1 of a 2-parter can include a lot of setup, where the best bits have been left for the second half, but that is certainly not the case here. Last year, Tom Cruise got people back in the cinema in the seats to watch Top Gun Maverick, and I think he's going to do it again here with Mission Impossible. He's once more teamed up with director Christopher McQuarrie, and they're obviously a great partnership because after the last 2 entries, they've got another one here which is a thrilling adventure and one which you can really sink your teeth into. Even though this is only the first half of the story, the runtime of the film is 2 hours and 40 minutes, so it is quite long, but you don't feel it, and that is always a great sign. The story is pretty straightforward as our characters are chasing down 2 halves of this key, and it all surrounds AI and something called the Entity. It does well when it comes to providing a worldwide threat and upping the stakes, but at the same time there was just a few too many conversations about said key that it did sort of bog it down a bit, where it's like, okay, we get the whole key stuff, we're sort of spelling it out a little bit too clearly, let's just move on to the next bit now. There is also a human antagonist to go alongside the AI, but the AI was much more unsettling than this character. They were just a little bit too bland for me, I think, especially when compared to Henry Cavill in the last film. This person's not the most memorable. Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg and Rebecca Ferguson all return, and of course the Scooby-Doo masks are back again as well, so there are those familiarities you'd expect with a Mission Impossible film. But a newcomer to the series is Hayley Atwell, and she's someone who's always been on the cusp of breaking through. You know, she's been doing a lot of the Marvel stuff with Agent Carter, she's done like the Christopher Robin film as well, but you know, to have her now in this big blockbuster, I think she fully deserves it because she's fantastic, and her and Tom Cruise, they have like instant chemistry, they really do work so well together. The prologue of this film goes on for quite some time, but there's a number of great scenes in there, and it is one of the best openings to a Mission Impossible film I've seen. In the same way we saw early in the year with John Wick 4, this film can be split up into 3 big action scenes, and I think with all of them they have their own speciality. Like one in particular in Rome has a bit of more humour built into it, whereas one at the end of the film has a lot more of the spectacle and the fantastic action. And the cinematography is superb, so it is a beautiful film for the big screen. Another Marvel star has joined the Mission Impossible ranks, and that is Pom Klementieff, who plays Mantis in the Guardians films, and she was great. Like, she had a really interesting role, and she was chasing down Ethan and Co quite a bit in the film, and she's doing it all with having a sadistic smile on her face as well. This is my first time seeing her outside of Marvel, and as we've seen with a lot of her co-stars from those films, they've gone on to other projects, and so it'll be interesting to see what else she does in the future too, because she does impress here. Now on to someone who might be joining Marvel, and that is Vanessa Kirby, as she's been rumoured to be the next Sue Storm. She returns here as Alana, and she was great, especially in her physical performance. And I think what we've seen with all these actors is that they're all fully committed to bringing an entertaining spectacle for the audience, and that's what people want. I think people just really enjoy, especially with Tom Cruise movies at the moment, that escapism and just sort of going into cinema, having a fun time and leaving it just with a smile on their face. It's remarkable to see Tom Cruise still doing these stunts, and I applaud his determination to find new ways to wow cinema goers. This film is not as good as Mission Impossible Fallout, but it warms you up and it leaves you with your palms sweaty and with a feeling of fulfillment. With that being said, you're happy to wait for the next part because it delivers a feast of an action film. Though when the time arrives for part 2, you'll be right there in line and ready to go.
Get in my belly!
At this moment in time, it seems that action is the genre that's getting it right more than any at the moment. Whether it be this film or John Wick or Sisu or Extraction 2, there's been some great successes this year. And I've got to give a special mention to Dead Reckoning Part 1 because during my screening there was a complete tosspot answering his phone and talking all the way through the film, and even with that happening I was still glued to the screen. But yeah, I might have to do a separate video on this and do a little cinema rant, because there has been quite a few instances this year where there's been some assholes in the cinema. Anyway, on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, it's an imperfect film, there are some issues in there, but it's a thrill ride, it really is. It's a thrilling action adventure film. There's a great new addition there with Hayley Atwell in particular, and yet again Tom Cruise has delivered a summer blockbuster not to be missed.
That was totally wicked!
If you've also had the chance to see the film, what are your thoughts on it? And also let me know where you think it ranks amongst the rest in the comments below. And if you fancy another review, on screen is one which YouTube have picked out just for you.